people is assuming that I'm saying Big U has something to do with Nipsey getting killed. That's not what it is.
Yeah, I feel like you tried to like backpedal.
They killed Nip too. Let's not forget, homie. They killed Nipsey Hussle. Eric Holder was not a lone actor in that. If you go back and follow the details, Nip and Big U got into it.
Wait. You get a call from Big U telling you Nipsey just got killed.
Yeah.
You panic, call Nip. Nip answered the phone.
Yeah.
A former Crip just broke his silence and put the streets on alert, saying what folks been whispering for years. Big U played a major part in setting Nipsey Hussle up. And the reason? It wasn't about cash or territory. This one cuts deep. Word is, it all came down to straight up envy.
He's a dummy, and you was dick riding him, thinking me and Luce was on some bullshit, thinking 600 was on some bullshit.
I just have to try to represent the other side of the argument, so it's not totally one-sided. Honestly, I can barely defend him. I don't know.
Nipsey's name started ringing louder in the streets than Big U's, and Big U just couldn't handle that. That pride, it got bruised. Now Big U's already locked up, and with those heavy RICO charges stacking up, the feds are allegedly reopening the entire Nipsey case. And this ain't some internet theory floating around. Nah, this is coming from folks who really know what's up. People on the inside, ones who lived it. Let's take it back to 2009. Nipsey and Big U had a 10-year contract, but it wasn't just paperwork. Big U allegedly had full control of everything Nipsey did. His moves, his music, even his image. From 2009 all the way to 2019, it was like Big U was pulling all the strings behind the scenes. Big U was right in the middle of it all. And guess what? That contract between him and Nipsey just happened to end the same year Nipsey was gone. Coincidence? Yeah, right. That's too perfect to be an accident. Insiders now spilling the tea. Big U saw Nipsey leveling up for real. Nip wasn't just some up-and-coming artist anymore. He was building his own empire, making real money, getting major love from fans, and even getting respect from the OGs in the game. And that was a problem. Cause Nipsey wasn't acting like the little homie anymore. He wasn't taking no more orders, and Big U allegedly couldn't stand that. The beef wasn't just behind closed doors either. That tension, it spilled right out into the streets. Instead of pushing Nip higher, Big U allegedly tried to shut it all down before Nip could really take off. Then, Loose Cannon came through with a bombshell. He said Big U called him and told him Nipsey was already dead before it even happened. Luce said when Big U made that call, his voice was calm, like he already knew what was going down, like he was breaking the news early, cold as ice. He wasn't buying it. So Loose Cannon made the call himself to check on Nipsey. And Nip, he was alive.
Wait. You get a call from Big U telling you Nipsey just got killed.
Yeah.
You panic, call Nip. Nip answered the phone.
Yeah, and
you
we
like
were just talking on regular, so it's like at the end of the day, I didn't even think about it because
you don't even warn him that you got that call from dude.
No, because their relationship was so fucked up. It'd be like they be hot one minute, then they be cold the next minute, and then they be lukewarm. Like you
and
just
30 minutes after you get out the phone with Nip, he get
cool, chill. They even talked on the phone, but then just 30 minutes later, Nipsey was gunned down. Gone. Just like that. That timing, way too clean, way too sharp, way too shady. Now people are saying Big U might have slipped up and exposed more than he meant to. That call could be the moment that gave it all away. For Big U to say Nipsey was already dead while he was still breathing. And then he ends up shot less than an hour later. That ain't no coincidence. That's a messy setup that didn't go as planned. The streets felt that. It shook people. Even Charleston White jumped in with his own take, and he didn't hold nothing back. We all know the name Eric Holder, the man convicted of taking Nipsey's life. But Charleston's flipping the script. He's claiming Holder didn't move solo. According to him, this was a whole setup, and Eric was just a pawn in a way bigger game, a fall guy while the real masterminds stayed hidden in the shadows. And yeah, Big U's name, it just keeps coming up. Charleston's claims line up with whispers from the streets, folks who've been saying this hit was too perfect, too clean, too fast, like it was planned to the second. When the heat between Big U and Nipsey finally hit the boiling point, Nipsey aired him out publicly, dropped the diss and didn't hold back. That move, It hit Big U right in the ego, especially with Nipsey's name getting heavier in the streets by the day. Everyone was watching, and Big U did not like how that looked. So what did Big U do? He pulled up and took back all the studio gear he had helped Nipsey get his hands on. Straight up petty. It was like he was saying, "You disrespect me? Then I'm snatching it all back." Pride was running the whole show, but even that wasn't enough. Big U wanted it face to face, man to man. Since he wasn't a rapper, he wanted to throw hands. And yeah, it got that real. Word is, they actually had to run the fade. Loose Cannon backed it up, saying the whole squad pulled up to Nipsey's spot, ready to handle it like straight up street business. But just when you think that's wild enough, here's where things take a crazy turn. Black Sam, Nipsey's brother, was not about to let it go down like that. He saw the setup from a mile away. He knew the politics, the danger, all of it, and he wasn't about to let Nipsey roll off with those dudes not knowing if he'd even come back in one piece. So Sam stepped in, stood firm, and shut it all the way down. That move? It probably saved Nipsey's life that day. But sadly, it just delayed the storm that was coming next. And this whole mess, it had one of Nip's closest people caught up in it too, Fats. Real name, Stephen Fats Donaldson. He wasn't just a friend, he was family, loyal to the bone, someone who'd ride for Nipsey, no questions asked. When things started getting real between Nipsey and Big U, Fats wasn't gonna sit on the sidelines. He saw Big U coming up, bringing pressure, and Fats stepped right in. He stood his ground and clocked Big U. Yeah, you read that right, he swung on him. And that's major, especially considering Big U's reputation on the streets. But that move, it showed how deep the love and loyalty ran in Nipsey's circle. Here's where it starts getting real suspicious.
But they killed Nip too. Let's not forget, homie. They killed Nipsey Hussle. Eric Holder was not a lone actor in that. If you go back and follow the details, Nip and Big U got into it. Big U hit Nip daddy across the head with a bat. His brother had to come out and shoot the gun.
Not long after that heated run-in, Fats ended up dead, gone without warning. And the streets, they started buzzing heavy. Was it a revenge hit? Payback for what went down between him and Big U? The timing was just too tight, the beef, the diss, the fade, and then suddenly one of Nipsey's closest people gets taken out? People ain't slow. All eyes turned straight to Big U. Folks were saying he wanted payback for the way he got disrespected.
So he tells me, "Hey, Wack, the Black Sam, the police told me, leave him alone. That's one of his. He on parole and they let the out before me. This what he feed me. Come to find out, Black Sam was off parole. Black Sam indeed had to bail out. Big U was the one that they let out. No strings attached. He turned into grid work."
And Fats may have paid the price. But the wildest part, the most disrespectful part, came right after Nipsey was hit. While the whole world was mourning, sending love, RIP messages pouring in from every direction, Big U and his crew jumped on Instagram Live, and they were laughing, not reflecting, not honoring Nipsey, laughing. It wasn't no tribute, it wasn't no heartbreak. Viewers said they looked like they were mocking the whole thing, cracking jokes, grinning, scrolling through RIP comments like it was funny, like they were trolling the pain the city was feeling. And this wasn't weeks later when emotions had cooled. It was hours after Nipsey passed. People watching the stream were stunned, straight up disbelief. It felt cold, like they didn't just lose someone who meant the world to the city. And that vibe, it set off alarms. People started saying out loud what had only been whispered before. That whole live stream gave off this creepy, we already knew energy. But Nipsey's case, that ain't the only thing Loose Cannon's been putting on blast. He claimed Big U had a pattern, setting up his own crew like it was just part of the game.
Sam, shot in the air, right? Peep this. He shot in the air. Boom. Police in there in 30 seconds.
Your deal with Nipsey was 10 years.
It's 10 years.
Was it 10?
10 years, 20 publishing to Harry Miss.
Oh, wow. So, 09 to 2019.
According to Loose, Big U would send his boys out to hit a lick, rob a house, run down on somebody. But here's where it gets shady. The people they hit always knew exactly where to find them right after. They weren't just guessing, they were pulling up with precision, ready for revenge. That ain't bad luck, that's a setup. Straight betrayal from someone who was supposed to be leading the squad. And it goes deeper. Luce said Big U was out here selling straps to his homies, but not just any pieces. These were dirty guns.
Big Useless, he asked him, he was like, okay, I got guns. Do you got your gun on you? He said, yeah.
Traced, tagged, and hot. He'd push him for as low as $350 and then, allegedly, turn right around and drop their names to the feds. That's wild. He was making money and stacking snitch credit with law enforcement at the same time. A double hustle with zero loyalty. But what really makes it cold, Luce said Big U didn't just pull that on random dudes in the streets. He allegedly tried that same dirty move on Nipsey too. See, Nip once shared a story about being on probation. He said cops raided his spot and found a shotgun. Now here's the crazy part. Nipsey made it clear that the gun wasn't his. It was legal, yeah, but it wasn't in his name. Still, they pinned the whole charge on him. Now put that next to what Luce said, and the picture starts looking real familiar. It's the same exact setup playbook, and Nipsey may have been one more name on that list. Fans ain't buying the random raid story. They're convinced this was a setup, and they believe Big U had his hands all over it. Whether he tipped off the cops or planted the whole thing to get Nipsey locked up, folks are saying it lines up too perfectly. Especially with Big U's alleged history, selling trace straps and snitching on the back end, it all starts to make sense. It's one thing to have street beef, but if you're allegedly weaponizing law enforcement against someone, that's a whole different kind of dirty. Now let's talk about Wack 100. He's been yelling from the rooftops for years that something's off with Big U. He didn't just hint at it, he straight up said Big U is an informant, plain and simple. Wack even brought up that old arrest involving both Big U and Black Sam. And guess what? Only Black Sam stayed locked up. Big U, he walked. No charges sticking, no time served, and people been side-eyeing that situation for years. How does a dude with that kind of rep, history in the streets, connections to shady business, just walk away clean from federal custody? Unless he had a deal. Unless he was already working with the feds behind the curtain.
Pockets, by Fats, rest in peace, right? Went down there, this is when Black Sam allegedly came out the store firing in the air.
Feeding them info, maybe even calling shots while staying protected the whole time. Wack didn't bite his tongue either. He said Big U might have been a long-term plant, someone who sold out his own circle, all just to keep his name clear and his freedom intact. After all the street drama, shady backdoor moves, and bodies piling up, Big U's name finally hit the radar in a way he couldn't dodge. Word spread that he turned himself in right after a sealed RICO indictment dropped, targeting multiple big names in the LA street game. And if you don't know what a RICO case is, just know it's serious. The feds don't pull up unless they've already got the puzzle put together. We're talking wiretaps, informants, and years of surveillance. They're not just after one crime, they're building a web, trying to link everything to organized crime. And Big U, he's right there in the center of it all. But it gets even wilder. After Big U turned himself in, the streets lit up with whispers.
This is my last video before I turn myself in. I'm with my family.
Word was, people were flipping, real ones turning informant, dropping names, spilling secrets. And not just vague stories, real details started flying around. Some folks claim Big U knew where bodies were buried. Literally, hidden graves, known only by him and a tight circle. But now, that circle's cracking. Some of those close ones are allegedly talking to save themselves, trading info for shorter time or to dodge the pressure. In this case, it's getting bigger by the minute. One of the major names being dragged into the mix is the murder of PNB Rock. He was shot down in broad daylight, right there at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in South LA, eating lunch with his girl on September 12th, 2022. According to the reports, a masked man walked into Roscoe's and tried to rob PNB Rock, then shot him multiple times right there in front of witnesses. Cold-blooded. The official story? Authorities say Freddie Lee Trone sent his teenage son inside to do the job. They say it was the kid who pulled the trigger. The courts charged both father and son, calling it a planned robbery. But in the streets, a whole different story started bubbling. Whispers turned into shouts, folks saying the hit wasn't about a robbery gone wrong, but something way deeper. Loose cannon, someone closely tied to Big U, went on a podcast and dropped a bomb. He said both he and Big U were there when it all went down. That statement flipped the whole narrative. Suddenly, this wasn't just some random act of violence. It started to look like a planned hit. The motive? Word is, PNB Rock refused to check in with certain street figures connected to that part of town. And yep, Big U's name came up again as the one possibly pulling strings from the shadows. And if that wasn't enough, there's the case of Rayshawn Williams, a 21-year-old rising artist out of LA signed to Unique Music, Big U's label. He had just recorded a diss track aimed at Big U. It never officially dropped, but you know how the streets work. It still spread, and it definitely made its way back to Big U's ears. Then came the twist. Hours later, on January 24, 2021, Rayshawn's body was found dumped in a ditch outside Las Vegas. No phone, no ID, multiple shots to the face. And here's the kicker. That same day, he was in the studio with Big U. You don't need a detective to trace that connection. Another young artist gone, another mysterious death, and yet again, all signs pointing back to the same name. Now with Big U locked up, sitting behind bars on a RICO case, and the feds allegedly reopening the Nipsey Hussle investigation, everything's spinning out of control. What used to be quiet barbershop talk and whispers in alleyways, it's turning into official paperwork with federal stamps. People are talking, the pressure's on, the walls are closing in, and with more folks flipping, loose cannon speaking out, old clips resurfacing, the timeline ain't adding up unless you face one cold, harsh truth. Nipsey Hussle wasn't just taken out by some lone hater on the block. Nah, this was a hit, one with deep roots, set in motion by someone who once stood right beside him, someone who was supposed to protect him, not plot on him. The motive? Pure jealousy. No cap. Nipsey's name got too big. His reach, his influence, his respect, it all grew past what Big U could handle. And that bruised ego might have been all it took to light the fuse that led to tragedy. Now the whole city is watching. The fans are listening. And the truth, it's crawling out of the cracks piece by piece. The stories that used to get ignored are now front and center. The dots are connecting, slowly but surely. Nipsey's legacy still shining strong. No matter how many tried to dim that light, they couldn't erase what he built. But now the question stands, everyone watching this sound off. Do you really think Big U was involved from the jump? Was this bigger than just street beef? And with all this new info surfacing, are the feds finally about to get it right this time? What's it really gonna take for Nipsey to get the justice he deserves? Let's talk about it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't hold back. If you've got theories, receipts, or just raw emotion, I want to see it all down below. If you made it this far, go ahead and smash that like button. It helps this message get even further. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe so you never miss the next drop. We're just getting started. I'll catch you on the next one. Stay locked in.